Good afternoon and welcome to the last day and one of the most remarkable films being shown at the Virginia Film Festival. The theme this year is funny business, and I don't think you're going to see a film that gives you such a look at how funny the business, particularly the political business of Washington, can be, at least in certain imaginations, than the film that you're about to see, Gabriel over the White House. It is a film directed by Gregory LaCava, who went on to direct some of the signature social screwball comedies of the 30s, particularly My Man Godfrey, and later Stage Door. But this film has a very interesting and kind of bizarre genesis. It was financed, and there was a lot of ideological input by William Randolph Hearst. It was being made in 1932 during the general election. It was conceived as being a very pro-Roosevelt film, and when it came out in 1933, it was met with pretty much general acclaim. The star of the film, Walter Huston, who could be said to have started one of the main and still ongoing film dynasties in American cinema, that is Walter Huston, John Huston, Angelica Huston, and Danny Huston. There's a long sort of lineage there. Had an established reputation as a character actor who could really cover the range of very sort of stalwart characters like Dodsworth, or later in his own son's film, Treasure of the Sierra Madre, a bit of a kind of crazy old coot. And in this film, you're going to see Walter Huston assume a kind of the demeanor of a pretty much run-of-the-mill, although sort of fairly pragmatic American president who undergoes some kind of conversion. Whether it's an authentic religious conversion or if it's actually a psychotic episode, the film does not sort of make clear. But I think what is sort of interesting is that the fantasy around which the film is built concerns an incoming president who, like Hoover, like Harding, was projected or characterized as a political figure who thought all the national problems were local problems, that they didn't need any kind of concerted federal intervention. After his conversion, he takes, let's call it a more Rooseveltian interventionist approach. The problem is, and I don't want to give it away, the problem is in order to get the authority to intervene in ongoing political and social unrest, he has to take on certain kinds of unauthorized at the time powers. What this meant was that in 1933, a film that somehow projected the figure of a presidential strongman was quite appealing. But it was also the year that, of course, Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany, and when the political implications of what a semi-dictatorial and finally dictatorial and possibly totalitarian leader might actually sort of do, the film was released from circulation. So this film really was, nobody wanted to show it for many, many years, and I think after you see it, you will understand why. The other thing I think to note about the film, other than the absolutely sort of bizarre politics and the kind of contradictory expectations I think the film projects the American public may have towards its leader, is the sort of mixed nature of the fantasy itself. I suppose most fantasies are meant to be contradictory and bizarre and try to get everything in them. This film is not only a political satire, a political fantasy of somebody who believes that he has sort of direct orders from God, but it's also a strange gangster film. In fact, it has the distinction of being singled out as one of the number 6 in the 20th greatest gangster films you've never seen. I think it's an interesting conjunction, politics and gangsterism. These may have more in common than we like to think. So a lot of questions, a lot of interesting performances, a lot of sort of ethical conundrums, and as I said, one of the most bizarre political fantasies of its time, and I would argue any time. So enjoy, and I hope it gives you not only pleasure, but much material for thought.